What's up, guys? We're back. Last stop of the West Coast title, round 6, San Diego. As you can tell by my voice, I'm a little under the weather this weekend. I've been out here racing with these guys, been in full battle. Just kidding, but looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an interesting race. Let's go watch this thing together. Big weekend. It's the last stop of the West Coast. I think a lot of these guys, they try to, even when I race, you try to get through the West Coast with being close in the points or somewhat having a couple good finishes, or at least starting to have that trend up before you get to, Daytona, Atlanta, which is kind of the middle part. So I feel like overall, if you talk to Cooper, you talk to Ken and Eli, everyone's kind of starting to peak in the right position. The defending champ is back clearly, and then you have I think in the last 2 years, Eli Tomac where he's at. So here we go, San Diego, round 6, gate drop. And Blake Baggett, El Chupacabra got a great start. And it's weird, like I used to always hate 90 first corners because, if you didn't get a jump or if you was on the outside, a lot of guys got pushed off, which you saw that. And I always felt like it was a lot of carnage, but most of everybody got through it pretty clearly. I think after last weekend, I think you see how Cooper was more aggressive even last weekend, and obviously more aggressive this weekend. It gave him a lot of confidence, and even with Adam, the rookie coming in, still doesn't seem like a rookie, but you could tell he wanted to get up front. He's been fast all year long. He's been fast in practice. He won his heat race pretty good, and then this is the first time he's led a main event since Anaheim 1. So I know he was pretty excited, and I think with the lap times being as short as they are, as we watch this race, I'm gonna point out a couple of things that I noticed that clearly with the timing, with 20 minutes plus 1 lap has changed since I raced. So I've never had to go 25 laps except for the old training background. But you can tell in this race that a lot of guys, everybody was basically pacing themselves. And I'll show you what I'm talking about as we get through it. Yeah, I believe this was a very important race for a lot of reasons. I think like I said, the last weekend in Oakland, I felt like if Cooper didn't win a race here pretty soon, I felt like his championship hopes was going to be more based off of somebody going down, more in the sense of him just winning. And he showed me a lot of things in this race. His patience of, just pacing himself. And you can see he kind of let Adam go out, pull away a little bit, and then, Aaron Plessinger caught up to him. But as you see him, riding, they're really not really over aggressive, not really charging a lot of things, and I think that was cause of the short lap times, and they knew it was going to be 25 laps long, and that's a long time in the Supercross. And even though this track wasn't probably the most difficult one, there wasn't a lot of places to rest on. The only place you probably could was right before the finish line. That was a place to rest, but even when you landed off the finish line, you had to charge that whole next section, and the speed you had going into that 180, it was a lot. So then you had the back-to-back whoops. I do believe Cooper outsmarted everybody this weekend, and when he figured out the first couple laps of jumping through the whoops, it was actually faster, which that's kind of hardly ever faster. It's faster jumping through the whoops, and it was a lot easier. And he was, 3, 4, 4, and he was out of the whoops. And he started doing that, and the time and, energy he saved by doing that obviously clearly helped him at the end of the race. And if you watch this race, Cooper was kind of jumping through the whoops, not really charging things, but he was catching up to Adam, where if you looked at Adam was charging everywhere. And I don't know how to explain it. It's a sense, and it's kind of when you get in a rhythm. But being where Cooper was, I've been in that position before, and he's resting and he's saving so much energy, you wouldn't even believe it. And you got the guy in front of Adam, seems like he's pushing, and he's doing everything he can, and Cooper's just riding around. And you could tell, about 4 or 5 laps before he made the pass, that Cooper was just sitting there, not really pressing, jumping through the whoops. Adam's blitzing, then Adam started trying to jump. So to me, Cooper won this race by outsmarting everybody, and his bike setup was great, but he didn't have to struggle in any areas that maybe he had an issue with in the whoops. He didn't have to blitz them. So I think a lot of things that Cooper did was, from obviously being the champ, but watching and studying the film, and then sitting behind Adam the whole race and watching where his lines was. It was brilliant. It was definitely it wasn't a Tomac speed. It wasn't a Roczen flash. It was smart, champion. I'm outsmart you, and he did it to perfection, the best I've ever seen somebody do it. So it was cool to see that. And there was two parts of this race where I felt like Tomac made a mistake. I think right here in the beginning part, not getting a great start. And then when he catches up to Barcia and Barcia starts playing the cat and mouse games, I think that cost Eli to win. I think he might have actually had a chance to do his MC Hammer can't touch this speed, because he looked like he was, when he wanted to, he was railing the corners, he looked fast. I think he might have made a run with maybe 8 laps left, but with Barcia, I think he lost a couple seconds, and he was ahead of Ken Roczen. So that's where he was trying to beat. But I think these two guys right here, Ken Roczen and Eli Tomac, has to start worrying about Cooper Webb, because this is a big confidence for him. And if Cooper wins this weekend, I think he's going to win the title. It's straight up. I think he's the guy that doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and he has the right mentality. No matter what those guys do, Cooper will find a way to win. So it's just going to be interesting for sure. Right here, Eli just rails this corner, scrubs this triple, and just goes to inside. Ken had to know this was coming, and he doesn't really put a fight up to it. He really couldn't, but I don't know what was wrong with the Roczen with Ken this weekend. He definitely didn't have the fight like he has the last couple. But Justin's been riding good all year. I think he can be proud on that, and he's still within the points. So, overall, to get out of the West Coast, if you told Justin he'd be within a handful of points of the championship, I think he'd be satisfied with that. So, again, all these guys are champions. They always want to win. So if you ask them, they want more. But, overall, I think Yamaha has to be pretty happy with Justin. Yeah, this was weird. I mean, you got to know, some guys like Justin, they're aggressive, and I think right here, it seemed for sure I knew this was coming. With Eli being on the inside of Justin and kind of making a little contact. But this part, to me, I don't understand that. With Justin, knew he couldn't make a pass. It was just more running it into him, and again, he didn't hurt him. It wasn't bad, but Eli, knowing who he's racing against, held up over the triple and let him go. But all that did was cost Eli maybe having a podium. Again, not calling him dirty, but it was, I could see how it could be frustrating for Eli or anybody else. And, but again, that's Bam Bam, so you kind of have to know that's going. But for sure, that cost Eli having any shot at doing his MC Hammer speed and maybe having a chance to run down Blake Baggett. This race came down to the last 5 to 7 laps, and that's where you can see where right here you see the champ, Cooper Webb, he's sitting on the back of Adam and just kind of pacing himself. He can do whatever, make a mistake, and you wouldn't believe as a racer how much energy Cooper's saving. I guarantee he's trying 25% less than Adam is right now and saving that much energy, and they're doing the same lap time. So that's the cool part, and when you're on it like that, it just happens. Now, if Cooper was worried, he would have made an aggressive pass on that section with Adam, but he goes in and he checks up. I'm not sure why Adam just didn't keep going on the outside and double out. I think he might have thought Cooper was going to run into him. But, thinking of this, one thing I never had to deal with is a rivalry from amateur. Like an amateur guy come up and be a rival with me in professional. And you got Adam and then Cooper, they used to race against each other, and they talked about how Adam used to beat Cooper all the time, and Cooper was kind of like the redheaded stepchild in the sense of always he wanted to be like Adam and beat Adam. That was his goal. And then you get into the 450s, and Cooper's obviously defending champion, and then Adam's the rookie coming in, and look, they're back like they were when they was on 80s racing each other, 60s. If you look at the laps previous, it was like low 52s, high 51s, mostly 52s. And then when he made that pass on Adam, he dropped down to 50 right then, and he got about 1.5 seconds off Adam, and then he did another 50, and the race was broken. So it goes back to his mentality of saving all that energy and then doing it with ease when he figured out how to jump through the whoops. He was just plotting it. So I think Cooper, to be honest with you, I bet he felt like he was going to win this race after lap 5. He saw who was in front of him. He saw where everybody else was. I don't think he had to worry at all and he ended up doing it. So Cooper Webb, you're welcome to the club. Got to get that neck burnt. At the end of the day, if I was Ken or Cooper or Eli, they all got positives. Cooper just won the race, so going into Tampa this weekend, he should be stoked. He's the champ. He did it with ease. He's back. Eli Tomac has been the best he's ever been, and the 450 Supercross champion, the closest. He's 1 point out of the championship. He should be stoked. You know, Ken Roczen is the points leader, so he should be stoked. So if you look at overall where they all are, and if you told each one of these riders that at the end of the West Coast that they'll be where they are, where they're at right now, I think they will all take it. So even though it's probably disappointing for two of them, you know, with Eli and maybe Ken, they're 1 and 2 in the points, and they're right there. And then again, you got the champ back. So I think he should be stoked. I think Blake Baggett getting third. He's riding well. He's riding solid this year. He should be happy. Adam Cincerella, you know, 2 weekends of not on the ground. You got a podium. He's getting better and better. So I think with him, I think he should be happy too. So I think this season's about to get really good. I think Adam's going to be pretty comfortable on the East Coast because that's where he was, you know, last year. So I think it's going to get good moving forward.